We start with the simplest exercise. You sit down like Aina on a chair, scoot forward a bit so you have more freedom in your legs, but don't scoot too far forward so you don't fall off. You still need to be seated securely with your entire bottom remaining on the chair. Now, place the affected leg, let's say it's your right, on top of the left, keeping it steady and comfortable. It might be that it doesn't work for you. If that's the case, here's what you do instead. Please bring it back down again, Ina. Stretch out your left leg fully, and now place your right leg over your left knee. If that's also not possible because it's causing too much discomfort, then go a bit further down instead. Somewhere it will work. Then you take one hand and use it to assist in gently lifting and pulling your leg even higher. Every day while practicing, go a little higher, and a little higher and a little more, until eventually you're above the knee. And when you're above the knee, the next movement you need to focus on is firmly pressing your right knee downward. Then it's best to place your right hand on your right knee, left hand, on your left ankle. The left hand holds the foot firmly in the position where it should stay, and the right hand presses the knee downward. Then you'll notice it pulling at every corner and edge, especially around the hip area. And when you're at that point, then you slide your left foot closer and closer towards you, and then the left knee starts to lift more and more. Eventually, your leg will stand completely upright, and you'll find yourself in a position that, right at the start, appeared entirely unattainable for you. That's stretching, and it progresses to that point when you do it regularly without any problem. You just have to practice it daily like all other stretches. Yes, and if you're sitting like this now or in another exercise position, it doesn't go any further. Once you've reached that point, then you focus on your abdomen. And here's what you do. Make sure that you're arching your back as much as you possibly can in that specific position. So now we're doing something we usually avoid. Normally we say to avoid arching the back too much, but with this exercise, it's crucial to arch your back as much as possible. And when you arch your back as much as possible, you'll notice that the stretch here in the glutes, where you have the sciatica issue, becomes much more distinct and intense. And then you concentrate on your belly button and gently push the navel forward, engaging your core muscles as you do so. That means you now bend your entire torso, including your pelvis, forward as far as necessary to achieve and maintain your desired level of intensity. Typically, with these exercises, you'll notice that it pulls right there. The stretch, that intense sensation, targets precisely with its stretching pain the exact spot where your sciatica problem is located. Because your sciatica issue is, from our experience, essentially a problem of overly heightened tension in the muscles and fascia. So you identify your pain and now don't run away from it. Don't think to yourself, oh, now the pain I'm trying to eliminate is being triggered. Then you shouldn't do this. You've got to think the opposite way. You have to think, now I'm right at the strand of muscles and fascia that's pinching and irritating my sciatic nerve, which is the source of all this ongoing discomfort and pain. And if I pull on it now, I'm logically going to reactivate that specific pain once again. But when I step away from the exercise and stretch further, I'm moving farther from the pain until it eventually disappears completely. What you can also do in this position is to pay attention as you move straight forward, directly ahead, and notice if you feel like, oh, shifting slightly to the left or a bit more to the right could improve the feeling. Then it pulls you in more, so always opt for that slight angle adjustment where the pull feels stronger, because that allows you to work even more effectively on those specific muscles and fascia involved. The next exercise derives from the previous one, you'll see why. You do it on the floor, sit down, lower both legs. Swing your right lower leg underneath your left knee. Positioning the lower leg so it lies straight and runs parallel to the front edge of the mat, ensuring proper alignment and stability. Now lift up like this, moving your buttocks outward, bringing them over here, so that you have a 90-degree angle here in your right knee, and try to move your left leg backward now. Shift to the right, take the leg backward, and stay nicely upright. Exactly. So with Ina, it works. It might not work for you. What do you do in that situation then? Take another step forward with your left leg. Then position your right leg to move into a slightly more angled stance as you proceed. Bring your foot in closer, practically right up next to the other leg, and then take a step backward with the opposite leg, keeping your balance steady. And you'll notice that you have to stay upright, and you'll feel it's getting easier. Then you can start moving out of this angle here. Keep working your way up gradually until you eventually reach that 90-degree mark. No matter what leg position you're in right now, you'll likely feel it again in the back of your hamstring, perhaps even more intensely than you did the last time around. Oh, there's exactly the pain I want to eliminate, and that always shows you're in the correct area where you're focusing your practice. And when you're in the position, whether it's at 45 degrees, an intermediate angle, or 90 degrees, the focus now is on straightening the body properly. Now it's exciting because this exercise has a double effect. So you're directly targeting the tightness in the sciatic nerve in the right buttock. And at the same time addressing the root cause, because most sciatic issues originate from the front, where everything is too tight and shortened. The hip flexor, above all, and now, alongside this acute treatment, let's refer to it that way for now, you're also performing a stretch of the hip flexor in the opposite leg. That means you're killing two birds with one stone. Of course, you'll need to practice on the right side and then the left side, but you'll be thrilled because it makes your hips incredibly flexible. You won't want to go without it, completely aside from your sciatic pain. So when you're in that position, try to sit up as straight as possible, and then you'll feel the stretch in your right glute, right where your sciatic pain is. And you'll notice the sensation in the left groin area. Extending into the front of the left thigh, pulling upward, typically in that region. It might also pull into your back. Then you'll also realize, oh, my back pain wasn't far off either. And now we'll show you a more advanced version of the last exercise. But first, there's something you should do. Once you've reached the 90-degree position with your right leg, stay exactly in this setup. Right angle here, the other leg extended back, and now lift yourself up from there, so that your pelvis lifts upward. And you can now use gravity. The key point here is that your pelvis must remain perfectly horizontal and avoid tilting to either the left or the right side. So keep your pelvis completely horizontal. And now gravity is pulling you in. You can see your right leg is slightly raised, and gravity is working to deepen the same stretches again, but in a very, very intense manner. You'll notice it when you perform the exercise, but keep the sequence in mind. Begin on the chair, then move on to doing this exercise while sitting on the floor, and finally, practice it while hovering. With the fourth exercise, we really tackle the root cause, this sciatic issue that troubles so many people. As we hinted earlier, the cause stems from the front, from tightness there, and now we're going to focus on a muscle that also has a hip flexing function and is heavily involved in requiring counter-tension at the back. Lie down on your stomach, just like Ina's doing right now, and then attempt to bring your right heel all the way to your buttock. And keep your knees together, so the knees shouldn't splay out. Then you'll notice you can't reach it, and for many people it's the same problem even if someone else attempts to push it for them. It typically ends right at this spot, and that area needs to be stretched out, and you'll be amazed at how much better your hip feels afterward and how your sciatica immediately eases up, significantly reducing all the protest pain it's been sending out. Once that area is stretched out, since most people can't reach here, you can best help yourself with a belt. Or with the stretching strap, reach back. And then simply pull on the strap to adjust it correctly. That's quite uncomfortable what Ina's doing, since it requires so much arm strength at an awkward angle. It's better if you slide your thumb into the stretching strap. Now you have it positioned right next to you, allowing you to steadily walk your hand forward and gradually pull your foot closer. And stretch yourself out as usual. However, the key thing you really need to focus on during this entire exercise is that from about here, you must ensure that your pelvis is actually lying flat and stable, that your groin is lying flat, or the hip bone. This bone that you can feel here, where the coin pocket on jeans usually is, this area must be lying flat. The hip must not be bent, and only then will this exercise deliver its maximum effectiveness and results.